Okay, so I'm filming this the Thursday that you're seeing this going up because I wanted this to be a full story about standardized testing because this week is the week that I have to do standardized testing, but I didn't have to thankfully do it all 5 days of this week. I only had to do it Monday and Thursday today, and let me tell you, it was awful. The test is split up into two parts. One part is the multi-question part, and the other part is the essay part. The multi-question one I took on Monday, and the essay one I wrote today. The one thing that I don't get about standardized testing is that it's not standard necessarily, because when I talk to my friends about what questions they had on the test, we don't have the same questions. How are you supposed to assess students on the same level if they're not being asked the same questions? My multi-question test had multiple questions that I thought were just rude. Like, they had spelling questions, and I can do almost every other skill that they require of me. I can read a text and answer questions. I can use correct grammar. I can read between the lines and do all that analysis-ish that they want me to do. But the one thing that I can't do is spell. And it's not my fault necessarily, because my elementary school never forced me to know how to spell things properly. So I don't know how to spell. I rely heavily on spell check and Google, which always seems to help me. But this multi-question test just wanted to screw me over with 3 different spelling questions that took me honestly so long. They made me question how to spell restaurant, and I don't know how to spell that. I think the majority of the population doesn't know how to spell it on the first try, and if you can, you're lying. And the worst thing about this whole testing week is that the testing, brackets, the time for testing is 4 straight hours. It's from 7:50 to 11:20. And you just have to sit in a room and just be silent and test. And it's awful. And then the days when you're not testing, because there are 2 different days that you don't test, because the 2 testing days are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You either test on Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday. So when you're not testing, for me, that would be Tuesday and Friday, you have to just stay with your first period teacher for 4 hours while the other groups are testing. And it's the worst if you don't have a good first period teacher. I don't. He's not a bad teacher, it's so boring. There are other classes that get to make pancakes, they get to make plush toys. We just have to sit there and entertain ourselves, and it would be fine if I had entertaining people in the class to conversate with, but I don't. I have a few, maybe 4, that I could hold a conversation with for a while, but not for 4 hours. The multi-question part was just such a mess, and it was awful, but that was Monday. I'm over it. Today's Thursday. I had to write a full-on essay, and the thing about the essay part of the test is, before you go into the test, you don't know what kind of essay you're going to write. They put it up to random draw, I think, and they just give you either an argumentative essay, an informative essay, or a narrative essay that you have to write. And you don't get to choose. They just say, here's the one that you get, you better write it. I had argumentative, and I ironically had to write about whether school start times should be pushed back in order for students to sleep more. And I just found that so ironic because I had to wake up so early today, and then I had to go to school so early so I could write this goddamn essay about school being too early. I found humor in that. But some of my other friends, they got essays on why songs get stuck in your head and stuff like that. And I thought that is way more interesting than whatever this is, because the awful thing about the essay is you have to read these 4 articles in order to get information to write your essay. But they're so long and boring, and they go on forever, and there's just so much writing. And then once you get the essay that you have to write, you have to write an essay. And I'm okay with writing essays because I find them really easy to just get through. But when you have to sit in a room in silence for 4 hours and write an essay, it is so awful. And because I didn't want to go through the whole process of writing an essay, rough draft, second draft that's revised, and then final one, and then proofread and edit, and the whole shebang, I'm not doing that. I don't draft. I don't get people who can draft, because it's basically what I'm going to write anyways. So why am I writing this first? and then you have to make edits to it. Speaking of which, I hate that when teachers are like, okay, you wrote your rough draft, because they're like, you have to know the steps, and I'm like, no, I don't want to know the steps. But anyways, when teachers are like, okay, you have your rough draft, now make revisions, and then I can't make revisions because it's already good. Like, the majority of my revisions are just spelling because I can't spell. But anyways, back on topic. I had to write that essay. Took so long. It took me probably the whole 4 hours to like read all the articles and write the essay. And also, what I didn't mention, on top of the essay, they give you 3 other questions to answer, which are like mini essays. I basically had to write 3 essays today, and it was so extra. It was just like the worst. Okay, now I'm just gonna talk about the rest of my day because it wasn't that fun, and I need to speak about it. Today, I knew it was going to be really hot. My mom told me it was going to be really hot. The forecast said it was going to be really hot. But, you know, I need to keep my all-black aesthetic. I get that this isn't all black, but, like, it's the monochrome aesthetic that I must keep. I have black jeans, black leather boots, and a flannel, and a black t-shirt, and it's just my aesthetic, you know? I knew that this outfit wouldn't be good for the outdoors. That's usually why I don't go outdoors, because my aesthetic does not appeal to it. But was I going to change it for this one day? No, because if you break your aesthetic, then what are you? But today in gym, and I hate gym, but that's a different video, because this video is already too long, but I hate gym. Today in gym, because we have a sub, and the sub doesn't really know how to teach us anything, he was like, okay, we're gonna go outside, because I guess the other classes were going outside too, and he was like, fine, we'll all go outside then. We had to go outside, and it was so hot. And my black aesthetic is not meant for the outdoors. It was awful. I had to be outside in like the sun, but like for the majority of the time I was just like standing in like the little spot of shade. But then the teacher was like, you have to be walking around at least. And then I just walked back and forth in the tiny area of shade. And then he was just so done with my bullshit that he walked away, and I was like, thank you, let me suffer in peace. And on top of that, I have to walk from my school to another school because over there I do some tutoring for some other kids. And the walk is so far and all in the sun, and it's so hot. I know that I was going to be going through all this pain when I got dressed this morning. That doesn't negate the fact that it was really hot. It honestly wasn't that hot. I'm completely exaggerating this, but like, it felt really hot. Like at times it was just felt like it was burning me. But you know, honestly, it's been worse. I've been to California in like the peak of summer in like July, and it's awful there. Oh my god. I don't know how people live in California. It's so hot. They always like complain that it's like so cold when it's like 70, and I'm just like, okay, calm down. But that's really just it. Today was just a stressful day. I was watching TV shows yesterday that were high-key stressful. That made today high-key stressful. There's no TV shows to watch today to make me not high-key stressed. So I guess I'm just gonna watch YouTube. Because if you break your aesthetic, then what are you? Nothing.